Yo, what up, boys? Today I'm going to be giving you guys my top 5 best guns for Delta Force Season 7. The Season 7 patch didn't really have any consequential gun balances, so not too much of change from last season. The new attachments that came out this season have shaken the meta slightly, though. Before getting into the list, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and leave a comment on what your favorite guns are for this season. Also, let me know of any video ideas you would like to see in the future. All right, starting off with the first gun at number 5, we're going to have the SMG-45, which has been a staple in Delta Force since Season 1. What makes this gun good is virtually no recoil, and being kind of a hybrid between an SMG and an AR. With the SMG-45, you get the movement speed that goes with the SMG. You don't quite get the range that a AR gets, but because you have so little recoil, it is just a laser beam at range. The way I build this gun is by using a advanced multi-caliber suppressor, so I can get the strong gunshot suppression along with range and muzzle velocity. For the barrel, I used a fission long barrel. Put a laser so I can get a faster ADS time. Don't worry about the minus handling here. That's only when the laser is off, and you will pretty much always have this laser on. For the patches, I go with stability. Optic is whatever preference you like. I like the new attachment, the frameless sights that came out this season. For stock, I use a lightning rail stock, so I get ADS movement speed at handling for minus stability. For the grip, I use AR heavy tower grip along with the staple grip base. Put the 40 round mag, put the mag assist to get extra handling. And then for the grip here, the foregrip, I put the folding grip to get more handling and stability. For calibrations, for the barrel, I put everything at the lowest possible point in order to get ADS speed and movement speed at the cost of muzzle velocity and firing stability. For the foregrip, I put it at negative 4.8 in order to get 0.96 ADS movement speed. This gets me, if I put it any lower, the movement speed will go beyond the cap. If you ever want to know what the cap is on a gun for ADS movement speed, your current walk speed is the cap. So if this ever goes beyond, like, say, 3.6 meters per second, it won't. It will just be stuck at the 3.58. So this is the cap. Rear grip, we're going to go max out the weight limit for the extra control, and then put thickness all the way at the bottom for the hip fire aim speed. And then for the stock, we're going to do the same in order to get extra control and hip fire aim speed. As you see, not much recoil, and it's just a laser beam. It does have a slow time to kill. It's 297 milliseconds. But the trade-off here is you have no recoil with pretty decent range, good ADS movement speed. You can turn this into an okay-ish hipfire build. I do recommend this season experimenting with it to see how you like it. This is just the most basic one that I use. All right, moving on to the next gun, the AK-12. So what makes the AK-12 good is similar to the SMG-45. That's an easy recoil pattern. You don't have to worry about it too much. Along with the fact that it has good handling when you put a 70 round mag on it. It has a slow time to kill with 326 milliseconds if it's all body shots. You can raise that up to 245 milliseconds if you get one headshot. But this thing is an absolute laser beam. I see this gun and the SMG-45 used in a lot of competitive Delta Force matches. I pretty much exclusively use it on Engineer. I don't really use it much on Assault. Regardless, the way I build this gun is I use the FFC double port muzzle brake in order to get control, stab, fire stability, fire camera stab, at the cost of handling and muzzle flash. The handling doesn't hurt us too much because we can always just get more of it with the other attachments. With the right rail, I always use a laser. This patch, I use stability, and 2 stability patches and 1 or 2 handling patches. Next, for the foregrip, I use the angled hand stop in order to get higher handling along with higher ADS movement speed. Get the charging handle cap just for free handling. Use whatever sight you wish. I use the frameless sight. The stock, I use the other brand new stock that came out this season, the CT Enhanced stock, in order to give me control, handling, stability, and ADS movement speed at the cost of accuracy. You could In prior seasons, I was using the Elite Light Stock in order to get slightly more ADS movement speed. But I personally like the handling that I get from this stock. I only get like 0.10 meters per second less ADS movement speed. So I have made that switch this season. For the grip, I use the AK skeleton grip for the handling control at the cost of stability. And for mag, I use the 70 round mag. You can totally use 45. 45 is enough. I just like running around 75 and not having to reload my gun. And the calibrations for this gun, the barrel, we're gonna decrease everything to the lowest possible point in order to get movement speed, ADS speed. Foregrip, I do the same. You can go for extra control. I personally like the ADS speed. For the rear grip, I'm gonna max out weight limit and decrease hip fire. You can totally max out the thickness if you want the extra stability when moving. I really just want the hip fire aim speed. And for stock, gonna max out weight limit and decrease placement in order to get extra control and extra ADS speed. In the range, this is how it performs. Not much recoil, and the recoil you do get is very easy to control. If you do get multiple headshots, the T2K goes into, I believe, the 160 milliseconds. I don't have the exact numbers on me, but despite its slow TTK with just all body shots, getting a headshot or two just makes this gun absurdly viable, which is why you see it used in a lot of competitive matches. Ever since they buffed this in Season 4, it has been a staple. All right, moving on to the third best gun for the season. It's the M7. The way I run the M7 is probably different than most people. I imagine most people go with the ultra long barrel in order to get the range and muzzle velocity along with control, but I go with the short barrel myself. I feel like the range on the M7 is already good enough at 40 meters, so getting more of that at the cost of minus 16 handling is a bit rough for me. I'm more of a run and gun type of person, so I prioritize the handling over the control. On top of the barrel, I always put the laser. For the patches that you get, I always do the stability patches here. Use whatever sight you would like. For the stock, I use the new stock again for the control, handling, stab, and ADS movement speed at the cost of accuracy. Rear grip, I use the AR MOE rear grip in order to get control and stab. For the mag, use the 45. Make sure you get the extra handling with the mag assist. With the foregrip, I use the phase combat grip in order to get control, handling, and stability. And then for the muzzle, I use the FFC double port muzzle brake. Calibrations for the barrel, put everything at the lowest point possible for movement speed and ADS speed. Foregrip, I put all the way down for ADS speed. You can totally go for stability when moving. I just prefer the ADS movement speed here. Rear grip, max out the weight limit and put the thickness all the way at the lowest for the hip fire aim speed and extra control. Stock, same thing, max out the weight limit in order to get the extra control, and the placement all the way at the bottom for the ADS movement speed. So the M7 doesn't actually have a great time to kill to the chest. It's about 280 milliseconds, which is quite slow. But if you incorporate a headshot, it immediately goes up to 187 milliseconds, I believe. Somewhere in the 180s for time to kill. And the range on this gun, even with the short barrel, is 40 meters. So even 40 meters out, you're going to be able to 3-shot somebody if you just get one headshot. You don't need to get 2, you just need the 1. And limb damage is the same. So if you get him in the leg and then shoot up, you can still kill him. Even if you go for it, the legs, it's still the 270 milliseconds to kill, or 280, excuse me. I mean, there's not really much to say. This gun has been, I've seen a lot of people using this gun. It's a hard gun to use, mostly because the recoil pattern is tough. Even with all this into control, you can see how much it bounces, making it good and bad. The reason I say good is because when you get that bounce, it just goes straight up to the head, which is what you pretty much want to do, right? So even if you aim for the chest, the recoil will just go up naturally, leading to you getting more headshots, which is exactly what you want to be doing with this gun. To be honest, I haven't used it this much this season just because the other two guns I prefer more. And I don't really use... I prefer the no recoil to the AK-12 than the M7, but overall, I do think the M7 is a far better gun than the AK-12, simply because you have the ability to 3-shot somebody. All right, moving on to the king of last season. It has been dethroned this season, but it's still a very strong gun. It did get nerfed slightly. It is no longer a 2-shot to the head. They reduced it from 50 damage to 49, making it 3 to the head, 3 to the upper torso, which is still the same as last season. And the rest of the limb damage is a 4-shot to kill. Regardless, the 3 shots to the chest or the body makes it a 200 millisecond time to kill gun, which is still absurdly fast. One of the fastest in the game in terms of just body shots. I think only the Ash 12 beats it with the new barrel. Other than that, this gun, very strong. The way I build it here is use the DTK muzzle brake for the fire stab and accuracy. Put the angled hand stop in order to get the higher handling. Use a laser, and then for the patches I use the stabilities on both areas. The barrel, I use the practical long barrel. Get the charging handle cap for the extra handling, just a free stat. Use whatever sight you like. I like the frameless sight here. For the stock, I use a lightning rail in order to get the ADS movement speed and the higher handling at the cost of stability. For the grip, I use the AK Heavy Tower Grip and combo it with the staple grip base. And then for the drum mag, I always prefer the 70 round mag. When I'm using this gun, I'm usually a Tempest and I'm just rolling in their spawn or in high density areas, so I need the 70 rounds. If you play a little bit slower, you can most definitely just go with 40s. Slap a mag mount on it and get the higher handling. I believe it gets, yeah, you get 286 milliseconds from what I have it currently. And that's the way I build it. For calibrations for the barrel, lower everything on the weight limit and length in order to get movement speed, ADS speed. For grip, same thing. You want the ADS speed and the ADS movement speed stippled. I'm not sure why that's not all the way down. Weight limit, max it out for the extra control. Thickness, lower it all the way for the hip fire aim speed. Stock, increase it the weight limit all the way for the extra control, thickness, hip fire aim speed. And with it, you should get a gun that has high ADS speed, decently high ADF movement speed for an AR, along with this ability being okay-ish. And with it, you get a gun that has a 200 millisecond time to kill. The 2-shot headshot change does hurt the gun quite a bit. Getting the 2-shot was just crazy last season. Regardless, this is a gun you're not going to be shooting at range. Obviously, the gun is not built for that. You really want to be within 20 meters. The recoil is very hard to control. Regardless, like as I said earlier, I'm mostly looking for 10 to 15 meter combats is what I'm looking for. Even at 20 and 30 over here, it's still fairly easy to control. The slow RPM helps it out quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a 200 millisecond gun. This gun's still very good. It is, I would say, it's a high risk, high reward type gun. Simply because the recoil is harder to control and you have a slower rate of fire compared to the other guns on the list. So missing a shot could be detrimental. Regardless, I still think the risk is definitely worth the reward. All right, and the #1 gun for the season is the addition of the newest gun, the MK4. This gun is absurd. It is broken. I'm glad they haven't nerfed it. I've pretty much been using this nonstop since the season has dropped. I have a video where I go more in depth on how I build it. Just for quick reference, this is how I do it. I use the M7 Practical Silencer in order to get control and a strong gunshot suppression. Use the laser for mostly for better accuracy. We're not even concerned about the handling here. This is primarily just to get better accuracy for the hip fire. All my attachments, all my guards are going to go into accuracy in order to get this accuracy max out. Use whatever red dot sight you want. It doesn't matter. This gun is purely just to hip fire. I do not aim down sight unless it's at range. For the stock, we're going to use the new stock for the season, the one that gives you accuracy, the QR high performance stock. Grip, I use the AR heavy tower grip along with the balanced grip base in order to get the accuracy maxed out completely. 48 round mag. Use the mag assist for extra handling, and also use the newest foregrip introduced this season as well, the universal hand stop, in order to get the accuracy. Stability, ADS speed doesn't really matter. Control also doesn't really matter. It's a burst gun. Calibrations, opposite of what I usually do. I'm gonna max out the weight limit and max out the length in order to get firing stability and muzzle velocity. Like I said, this is a hip fire build, so ADS movement speed doesn't matter because I'm not ADSing that much. ADS speed again doesn't matter. Foregrip, gonna max out the thickness, max out the weight limit for the extra control and stability when moving. Rear grip, we're gonna keep the same as usual though for the extra control and hip fire aim speed. Hip fire aim speed is just how fast you go from a running stance to being able to shoot your gun, even just hip firing. And with the stock, we're gonna max out the weight limit and max out the placements in order to get the firing stab. And this gun becomes an absolute laser beam at range. Even you just put your reticle on the enemy and shoot. The time to kill here is about 230 milliseconds to 240. It depends on how fast your trigger finger is, and I'm not sure how to measure out the delay in the burst, but it's very small. It's like 10 milliseconds. So, I mean, as you can see, this is just kind of absurd. No need to aim down sight. Even if you do have somebody at range, which I do find myself seeing people opt in, it's still a very fast time to kill. Like, we'll do 50 here. At this range, it's still pretty fast. 570 milliseconds for SMG is no joke, with easy to control recoil. So yeah, I pretty much just hit fire as much as I can. I think the breaking point for me, it's kind of just intuition. I would say around 40, I probably would. But you can even get away with like 40 meters hip firing. I prefer to aim down a little bit though here. If they're not looking at me, by all means, just aim and shoot. But if they're looking, I may try to get away, strafing back and forth to make myself a harder target. This gun is very good. It's very powerful. Using it as a regular SMG without the fire, I think is also great. I still think it would be the #1 gun this season. I just think the hip fire makes it completely busted. I think there is no contest compared to the other guns. For you mobile players, I'm sorry. I don't think this is a gun you're going to be able to use that well. Because it doesn't have the same characteristic as the Val burst, where you can just hold down the button to shoot. You have to continuously left click or hold right trigger if you're on console. Whereas the AS Val, you can just hold down the shoot button and it continues to fire. All that said, this gun, best gun in the game right now, hands down. Go abuse it while you can before it gets nerfed. All right, and with that, those are the 5 best guns of the game. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will catch you next time. See you guys.